We came expecting pizza. I don't even know where to begin with what you're about to hear about like everything from the DC to Marvel and back.
Crisis.
I think the overarching theme was how to handle crossing universes and the future of a lot of properties, including Spider-Man, the X-Men, Marvel, DC, the Matrix, Star Wars, all that stuff, and how all three of us have completely different views on various properties. That's right. It's like the Matrix coming at you right now.
It's actually really annoyed me a lot lately because, like, obviously there's people, we do podcasts or whatever, and so we talk about stuff, but like, there's so many websites just make crap up, and it just pisses me off. They're like, guess what? Sony still is in like talks, whatever. Like, you don't know that. Well, I have a friend whose neighbor's cousin's nephew's former roommate says like they're tight with Sony, and they know like. Bullcrap. You're just trying to pump up whatever clicks you're getting. It's just annoying.
I think the thing is that was it Marvel or somebody said like talks aren't done yet or whatever. Like there's a possibility. So
I feel like Feige and them said like talks are over with, but like not saying that they're not constantly like maybe back and forth a little bit. But like apparently they're like nope, we're done. We're out of the boardroom.
I think his official statement was like we're grateful for the time we had.
Exactly.
This is what you say to Grandma before
before you take her off life support.
Before she goes to the farm.
This is sad.
Anyway, are we started?
Yeah, we already kind of started.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Just a smooth start. We're at Brick and Flour, which we thought was a pizza joint, but look at us eating tacos.
Yeah, exactly.
On French fries.
These French fries, the carne asada.
Yeah.
So good.
Dang, you already finished that. It's crazy.
I didn't even realize I was
Where's my
hungry
sauce?
like that.
Didn't give me any sauce. Here.
Yeah. Did we get a different thing? The only difference was the fries.
So, we were talking about Spider-Man, and my theory is a little bit more solidified now.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more of a marketing move, because Vince and I went to see Angel Is Fallen this week. Now, I'm not saying not to go see it. Just don't pay for it. It was fun, but like, I would have been upset if we didn't have A-list. So afterwards, we were like, what else can we see? And we're like, oh, they brought Spider-Man back in the theaters with like 4 additional minutes. I'm like, this is too close to be coincidental. It's all, it's like when things happen in like multiples, it's like there's some calculated moves from somebody to do something. So who knows? I will say,
It's a cool theory.
the 4 extra minutes were kind of pretty worth it if you're a fan.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was
it actually
great.
added new story points.
I was gonna say it helped out the story.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw I took Angie because she hadn't seen Spider-Man yet, and it was like in no theaters. And then I read online, oh, next week it's gonna come out in an extended version. I was like, oh, sweet, I'll just take her then. So we went to go see it.
And the good thing is, since it's 4 extra minutes, it's not like an extra hour. They didn't Lord of the Rings it, but like...
And they didn't end game it. We're like, we're gonna show you a crappy deleted scene.
At the end of the movie.
And a scene that's going to be in the next movie you're going to see in 3 days. It's funny because we've seen that opening scene now more times than we've seen the movie.
Yeah. Because it was like verbatim in all the previews and everything else.
But the 3 or so minutes at the beginning, it was really cool seeing like all the things that Spider-Man had to like wrap up before going to Europe. And at the end, you got to see like a little snippet of like what the other henchmen were doing. They're like, oh, they're gonna be in like being social media now and stuff, which actually kind of fills in some of the gaps of like, how's everybody finding out about all this, So I mean, there's a lot of people around, but generally people are probably so terrified they're probably not catching as much stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of people who know like what's going on. They'll probably catch like more stable footage of things, and also like be able to frame it better. Like we learn later, spoilers, that he wanted to happen. And he still fall in love with Jake Gyllenhaal every time.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's the eyebrows. I don't know.
Those are gorgeous eyebrows.
Just eyebrows is great. I'm trying to skim through this to see what their actual point was here.
They don't have a point. They just want you to click. Mission accomplished.
There was I forget what I clicked on and stuff. There's the article I clicked on, and it got me. I don't even know if it's comic book related, but then I read through the entire article and like they didn't answer the question at all. Like sometimes it's like there's a clickbait thing where like, oh yeah, it's the thing when you click. I don't know. This time it was just about something else, and it was like, okay,
You know what? I know you guys don't watch any of the CW stuff, and to be honest, like I kind of I just finished last year's Flash, and it was kind of underwhelming in general. As if most of those kind of shows are, if not just downright. The first season was great. The second wasn't bad either. But after that, it's kind of slowed down. I didn't think it was horrible yet, but it just seems to like make its own tropes to where they're just, oh no, Barry, I can't find the guy. The bad guy ran away.
Are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like shakes when
Yeah.
Oh, it was the Honest trailers.
Oh, was it?
The Flash are like bobblehead Barry. Like, no. Like, this woman whose sole purpose is to remind you that her fiance is dead. Yeah.
Or anybody, because she's dated, like, she is like the person like, hey, let's hook Caitlin up with someone else this time. You know, like, she just had, these other people died already. Like,
she's like,
my dad died, my whatever died, yeah.
I guess if you keep rebounding, you'll have time to grieve, right? So it just hits all at once at the end of your life.
You just have a massive heart attack.
It's funny that they wrote her the way they did because, like, she's Killer Frost, which is like, she's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And, like, they keep just kind of bringing her back as a good guy. Just weird to me.
So she's a villain?
In a different
Supposed to be?
Yeah, but, like, they make her out like she's a good guy.
Gotcha.
Forever.
So is it a parallel universe?
Well, you know, obviously with DC, there's a million universes or whatever. Multiverses, which is, I was actually going to bring up, is they keep talking about this Crisis on Infinite Earths, and one of the good things about the CW stuff is that it actually like does cross between all of those darn shows. It also could be a bad thing if you hate those shows, but or if you only like one of them.
But they're bringing back characters from like Smallville.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like they're gonna have Michael Rosenbaum, who was Lex Luthor. I don't know if he's gonna be Lex Luthor or what's gonna happen in that, but yeah. I mean, there's actually been a billion other people too that like are gonna show up. In fact, Brandon Routh, who plays gosh,
somebody boring in that horrible
DC's
show.
version of like Ant-Man. I can't remember his name anymore, but he's gonna come back as Superman from his movie. Even though he's in the show as the Atom. There you go.
Yeah. Good to see they're keeping that continuity going.
Is it going to be the same actor for the Atom as well?
Yeah, it's going to be the same guy.
Yeah,
so Brandon Routh's going to play not only the Atom, but Superman as his old version of Superman. I've heard Tom Welling is going to be back as Superman. I don't know.
Who is he?
He was Superman in Smallville.
Smallville, gotcha. I didn't watch Smallville.
Oh, you didn't watch Smallville? Mm-hmm. Oh, we watched Smallville together.
I mean,
we watched Smallville together.
That was like back in Greenville days.
Yeah.
Like in college days.
Zoe and Cleo.
Chloe.
Yeah. All I know about Smallville is the Lana Lane or Lois Lane. It ended up being Chun-Li later in the movie that we won't speak of.
That was Lana Lang, but yeah.
Lana, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. And then so I combined both.
The girl that played Chloe is like in prison now because of like
sex cult.
The sex cult she was in, which is funny because like she, out of all the characters on the show, she was the most wholesome.
Newspaper grunt.
So,
is this crossover event going to be like the what's that horrible time travel show?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Is that
it's going to cross over with that and Black Lightning and Supergirl and The Flash. And the new upcoming Batwoman show that they're coming out with.
I haven't seen any of that Black Lightning.
I haven't seen any of it either. I don't know.
I haven't.
I don't have time. I mean, I'm trying to catch up on everything else. I finally just finished this year's Shield.
We still haven't. We're waiting for it to come onto Netflix to catch up.
I actually bought, I think, because Hulu only shows like the last 5 episodes or whatever.
Waiting out.
Even though I pay for Hulu, there's like tiers of Hulu, which kind of pisses me off. I hate Hulu so much, but I get it because I have Spotify. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I bought like the 2 episodes before that on Google Play so I could watch it. So we watched it and we caught up with it finally. I think it was last night. It was all right up until like the end, and then you're like, okay, that's weird. Sure, why not?
But we're halfway through the current season of Cloak and Dagger. So far, so good. Not the best season, I don't think, but not the worst. And isn't this only second season?
It's only the second season.
So first season was better. I don't know, but it's still interesting exploring like this world because like there was enough time to pass between the 2 seasons that you forgot that they were to like save the world.
Yeah.
And so they like reference it every once in a while, but I don't feel like, oh come on, like they're doing it again. It's just been a long enough time that I'm like, okay, I'm ready for another adventure.
I feel like it's a bit underwhelming. Like that first season, if the second's worse, then I feel like
it's not worse. It's just I don't know. I actually really like the first season for that kind of show. Like it's like the level that the CW DC show should.
It's
like,
better than the CW for.
That's what I mean though.
Teen
Like
drama.
It should like the DC stuff should be like what Cloak and Dagger is doing.
Yeah.
And then the Cloak and Dagger and Runaways are doing a crossover.
Oh, are they?
At some point, I don't know. They've been sharing like press photos of it.
Oh,
so I'm
weird.
like excited about seeing that because now we're going to see.
I was excited.
Runaways is like my favorite of those like teen drama Marvel. I guess there's only two. But
It was really good.
I feel like they don't give a crap about those shows. They're going to be like, and they're done. Kill them off, Disney Plus, everything else.
It kind of had that like Umbrella show, the
Academy, yeah.
Umbrella Academy feel.
But talking about the DC like crossover stuff, I don't know why they keep trying the crossover stuff. Like it feels like it's like a massive fail every time. Like Justice League, Legends of Tomorrow, like.
It's not a fail. They do really well with it. That's why they keep doing it.
Do they?
Yeah.
I thought Justice League was one of the biggest flops in like DC history.
I was talking about the CW crossover stuff.
Oh, no, I mean like the big
the
event
movies.
stuff. Well, like just the big event, like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Sounds like it's supposed to be like all the shows culminating in that or something.
They are.
Like it sounds like like it sounds like that kid in school. We're like, I can do it, and then when you like ask. Like, okay, show me. Like, I don't feel like it right now. So, like, he's like, okay. I mean, the names sound exciting and everything, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
last year's, because I watched the crossover from last year, and it was pretty good. It's just weird. They were playing off the Nazi thing, like, and a little bit too heavy-handed.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah. Well, they were all like all the bad people from all the bad versions of them from other worlds were like this Nazi. I said it. Coming after me.
Coming for you.
Okay.
The giant crossover from last year. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, wait, so is this only like one episode?
No.
It's
like
in
a
fact,
show.
it goes from like kind of like if you read comics and there's like a giant like crossover for their year. They start in one comic and go to the next comic and go to the next comic, and it's attaching all those people. The whole crossover is part of it. So there's basically like a big mini series, but it's every time you'll turn into the next show is the next part. So
Gotcha.
Black Lightning might be like the first one, and Supergirl at the second one, and Flash on the third one, Arrow, fourth, blah blah blah.
Okay, so it's not like a new show.
No.
It's happening across. Maybe.
It's not like an ensemble.
In my head, it was like they're gonna try to do Justice League on TV. I'm like,
It's kind of like that. But
Well, you'll see one of them in the others. I don't know.
they have
if you'll
Superman on it,
Yeah.
which is funny.
I just can't invest
Yeah, it's a lot of time
into it.
to
Like,
try to catch
And it's
it.
a lot of time if you want to watch all of them. I don't.
it's a lot of time, and then like I don't know. I mean, full disclosure, everybody knows I'm an MCU fanboy, but like they have a way of making like getting you to like really care about these people, and I think people end up caring about the Flash, maybe Arrow or something. Some of the other characters, I don't know if everybody like. I think people. It sounds like people get like attached to certain characters, but not all of them. And I feel like in
Supergirl got that.
MCU, it feels like a lot of people got attached to like all the core team.
Yeah.
Like regardless of who you were, like Cap might be your favorite, but you still care about Iron Man and Black Widow and all that good stuff. It doesn't feel like DC has done that with characters, but I don't know. I'm not in that world. I've had Josh's login for DC Universe. I haven't still watched Swamp Thing yet, so
Which is really good.
Yeah.
I gotta see that too.
I mean, I'm still waiting. The one thing I'm holding out on is all the properties are under the same banner as Mortal Kombat. I'm just waiting for them to cross some of that crap over, because like James Wan, who did like Aquaman and stuff, is also doing the Mortal Kombat movie, like producing it. So I'm like, why not Aquaman?
With the one. That's not gonna happen.
The thing though about the Aquaman movie is like they weren't worried about their own continuity. So, and it just was like fun, whatever. It was the equivalent of like you playing an SNES game. You're like, I was watching JonTron today, and he was playing the Home Improvement video game, and for some reason there's like dinosaur levels and like space levels and stuff, and the explanation is the different sound stages in the movie in the studio lot as a things. But it really had anything to do with it. It's like they had other games they started making and then they threw away and they just picked them up. But it's what it is, if you're a kid and stuff. So that's what I feel like the Aquaman like movie was. It was like its internal logic didn't work. Like he would say like, I've never been here before. This is like the good old times. I'm like, I don't know which part. Like there's like 10-minute difference between the two statements. But it was a fun ride. Yeah. Especially if you're on like mind-altering substances while watching it.
My kids have seen it. My wife's seen it and they loved it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, Aquaman?
Yeah.
So like,
I joke about it more than I appreciate it.
The good thing about it is it feels huge, right? Like they did a good job making the ocean feel huge. Like most of the animation is really good, but sometimes it gets so bad. Like, I mean, we talked about this before, but like there's a scene where Willem Dafoe's character is like facing the camera. He says something, and then the camera like shifts to another angle, and you see his back walking away, and it is clearly unfinished CG. And I'm just like, okay,
Just let that in.
And then there's another point where like they're coming into Atlantis for the first time, and I forget Mira, is that her name?
Yeah.
Looks over and it's like, it's your first time seeing it, isn't it? And it's a beautiful moment to say that. Oh, it's basically like white Wakanda, you know?
Samoan, right? Isn't he Samoan?
What's that?
Isn't he Samoan?
Oh yeah, but I mean it's like light skin Wakanda maybe. I mean, there aren't many color folk down there. It's not that it matters anyway. It's just like that's the parallel. It's like the first time you see Wakanda is a very similar experience. Like they do the same like shot, you know? But like the theme is a little bit different. But like but then like moments later they're like at some ruins, you know, and then they're like, this is where you defeated Steppenwolf. Like, so has he been here or not? Like, I don't...
Yeah. In Justice League, he goes down there to
defeat Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so when they said this is the first time saying, I'm like, okay, so they're just like, screw that other movie. But then they're like, this is where he defeats Steppenwolf. It's like, what is the... What?
Like, stop it.
So anyway, I'm just saying, like, they've already set up my expectations. So if Shang Tsung and Liu Kang are going at it and then Aquaman pops up out of the sewer and it's like, here I am, I'm just gonna be like, that works.
Yeah.
That's the logic of this universe. We are in LA, we're a city with loud cars where you compensate for your dick. Anyway, so there's that. But it's funny you mentioned like the Infinite Earth thing's kind of a multiverse thing. I was telling Vince, in my head, that's one of the possibilities of how they could kind of fix like the Spider-Man thing. Because of the way they left, like you said, the Spider-Man cliffhanger, they just need to... I know like somebody commented on one of our videos about how like really Tony Stark and maybe a little bit of Captain America were the only people that he really was associated with. But it's just weird because he was visible, he had the Infinity Gauntlet in his arms, met Captain Marvel. It'd just be weird for no one to ever reference him again. So
He's just gone.
in my head, one of the ways that they could rework this is with the Multiverse of Madness thing with Doctor Strange. They're just like, you know what? No more continuity because we're in the multiverse now, you know? Or they somehow like weave through, like pick and choose where they want the continuities to work. And like you said, that they're not going to try to do like this 22 movie arc again.
Which is sad because I really feel like that's part of the reason they did so well.
Yeah.
It's because continuity. I mean, that's why we liked the X-Men animated series. Okay, and no other cartoon had done that before.
But I'm trusting Feige's decision making because it worked for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then did you hear about the briefing of what WandaVision's going to be about? So they said it's going to be a 50s sitcom.
I heard that was going to be 50s, but it's weird.
They showed an image from it, and it was like a Dick Van Dyke Lucy show, like I Love Lucy, and it, like Paul Bettany had said, like it starts off as a straight up sitcom, and then goes into more recognizable territory. And they said it would tie into Doctor Strange, the second movie. So it's like, what if Wanda just fucks up everything? Like she just like breaks the universe or accesses the universe, you know? Yeah, several times, right? So what if like, you know, she goes crazy, so she like creates the reality where Vision's still alive, that's the series, but then it also breaks other things. And Doctor Strange has to either like fix it or rescue her or something. And then I heard a rumor that she was going to be the villain in Doctor Strange. Like,
weird.
Or a version of her would be or something. I mean, she was a villain before, so it's not out of the question. She also has like nothing left. You know, like, because her brother's dead, her lover's dead, the other people, before Infinity War, she was fighting with over half of them.
Yeah.
So it's like...
This Rhodey's still there.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye.
You know what's funny, though? I saw, like, a diagram someone made, and they parallel it to, like, actual, like, specifically American history, of, like, let's see how everybody turned out. And they showed everybody who like signed the Accords and everybody who didn't, and like how everybody turned out. And like everyone who signed the Accords is dead or had a horrible loss. With the exception of like I think Spiderman, who then was like, we might just be ignoring you now. And then virtually everybody, or maybe everybody who didn't, like Captain America's team, are all like fine. They just had to go hiding for a while.
I mean, they never actually said it. Like maybe Spidey didn't sign the Accords. Maybe he just grabbed him real quick, thinking like Tony, like I'm in charge of everything.
He's on Tony's side. Yeah, I guess that was the thing.
Eventually,
like,
he could have signed
that
him,
side of the Civil War thing, though, was like like when you trust the government to govern over diversity's rights, that's what happens. You know, it's like, and someone pointed out, they were like, was that like a specific thing that they tried to do? Not necessarily like diversity or anything, but like, you know, like, well, you were on the wrong side of history, so this is what happened to everybody, or was a complete coincidence. That's just the way stories work out.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is always funny though, because they showed the two sides. I'm like, you know, you're right, and they just like X. I'm like, oh god, yeah. Like, so that was really funny. But there's either that might be it. They just play in the multiverse, and they're like, in that way, we don't really have to talk about Spider-Man. Maybe we'll have Night Monkey.
They could have. They could technically use him in a television show.
Okay then.
Because they only have movie rights.
Oh, Disney Plus, baby. It's gonna be like the movie split into 12 equal parts. That'd be hilarious. And every episode just starts with like Spider-Man giving a middle finger to the Sony logo.
I hope, you know, that they do something like that. I mean, it's just gonna be weird.
Yeah.
Just not reference him again. But I feel like the current lineup that's gonna be within the next 2 years, like you said, they're going away from like a big giant arc. I feel like they're all gonna be very spread out, very different from each other, very not, you know.
Well, I heard that like one of the ideas was that there would be like smaller arcs, like 3 or 4 like comic runs and stuff. I don't know, we'll see.
It'd be weird to see different treatments for different shows.
They kind of already do that.
Yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy was like, you know, like the kind of Han Solo, Chewie like adventures and stuff.
Doctor Strange is kind of like crazy mind melting.
The other thing about WandaVision and like Wanda's like part in all of this is there was a theory that like something she does introduces the mutants, or the Eternals introduce the mutants, or Wanda does something to introduce the Eternals do something to like mess around with Wanda or something. You know, like Wanda's like the linchpin because she's like that axis point where like she was a mutant, but they turned her into a non-mutant in the MCU, but she's still connected to like the Infinity Stones, and so like.
And technically, they can come back. I mean, like if you go by comic logic at all, you don't really ever destroy them. So technically, they could come back. That's why there's actually a comic afterwards called Infinity Watch. So like where they kind of like watch over the stones and whatnot.
Interesting. Yeah, because they can't be destroyed because it would alter the realities.
Well, they did destroy them, I think.
Yeah, well,
they just come back.
And then
so they reduced them to atoms.
Yeah, like when Captain America, I guess it's because they jump back in time in order to get the stones again. So that's probably how Hawk was ever able to bring the time stone back to Sorcerer Supreme. So that
Captain America brought it back, right?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you said Hulk. So.
Oh, well, Captain America. Yeah.
Okay.
I love all this stuff leaking out after this whole Spider-Man study thing. Like, you know, Feige actually secretly worked on Venom.
I saw the headline, but I didn't read it.
That's cool.
Like, in what capacity?
Feige and Sony Pictures chief Tom Rothman spoke about the possibility of a wider involvement in the Sony-controlled Spider-Man verse, which contains 900 characters. I'm told that Feige lent an unofficial hand with a blockbuster Venom, so...
He helped edit it?
Yeah.
So, sure. I guess he was part of those things beforehand, right?
Yeah.
And I still, of the non-MCU Marvel movies, Venom is weird. I don't think it's a good movie, but I had fun. And I did buy it afterwards, but I've never dedicated watching it. It's just always on when I'm doing other things and I don't want it to be quiet. And I look over and action's happening on the screen and it's fun. And Tom Hardy is hilarious. And I like Michelle, why can't I remember her last name?
I don't know.
Williams.
Michelle Williams, she's great. Tom Hardy, all the movies that he does, he like knows the secret of how to gain and then lose and then basically form his body in any shape. It's so weird. They were talking about the Venom movie too. He had to lose like 30 pounds or something like that.
I want to lose 30 pounds. I'm not gonna do it eating carne asada fries.
I'm trying to remember the movie, what it was. I think it was like a boxing movie or a mixed martial arts movie.
There was a movie he played an old-time boxer, like that was bald with a handlebar mustache.
Oh, weird.
I remember because, warning, if you decide to look up Tom Hardy's like catalog of movies, because I wasn't familiar with what he'd done before Venom, even though I'd heard his name. The internet is not afraid to show you how unafraid of being naked Tom Hardy is. And it was like, wow, that's just some dude. At first I didn't recognize him. It was like, they just showing like naked dudes. I'm like, oh, that's him. He's like bald. And I guess there's a scene in there where he's like buck naked in like a jail cell or something. I was like, that ended my search for the day. So.
I mean, we can get into D23 stuff if you want a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so much.
I mean, one of the things that I was happy for, even though I'm not really interested in Star Wars much anymore, I'm pretty interested in the Kenobi TV series.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor's back.
Oh, wow.
And that's funny because I saw a meme about the situation because he was at D23 when they announced it, and he came out, and someone was like, he missed his chance. The very first things he should have said was, "Why, hello there." General Kenobi.
It's funny.
But,
See, I think that's the right take. Though I was actually, I know I mentioned on this podcast before, but also like to some other friends about Star Wars. Like, I think hardcore Star Wars fans, like, it's just not going to be your era anymore. You know, like, I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan, and I thought Last Jedi was fun. But that might be different if I was like a hardcore fan.
Yeah.
There might have been things I was disappointed in, but I thought all the things that people criticized were like, oh, that was fun. She like jet across in a frozen thing. Like, I mean, that's where my head was, you know, like.
I don't know, like, I could feel with them because, like, how would you feel if, like, something that, like, you read all these books and they already created, like, a really thick universe of stuff, and then someone just came in and goes, none of that, and like, just went straight forward. I mean, you'd probably be pretty upset about that if you've been following it for how long has this been going on.
Well, that's why I was saying, like, I think like the era for the hardcore fans is just kind of like non-existent now. So I get it. I don't know though. Like, we need to like look into the mirror universe where like I'm the hardcore Star Wars fan because it happens both ways.
Yeah.
Like when Fox did the X-Men, I was like, you know what? I washed my hands of the X-Men. This was my favorite thing growing up. Can't deal with this anymore.
I stopped watching the X-Men movies.
But then like there was things in like the Avengers and stuff, or the MCU stuff, that like I was completely fine with.
I think that's probably because you knew more about the X-Men than you did the Avengers.
Well, for one example, like Mysterio, to be honest, I didn't know a whole lot like as a kid, but being friends with Scott like filled me in very thoroughly behind everything. So I had this like expectation, and when they switched the story from him being a VFX artist to a Stark employee, both myself, who was like a recent fan and knowledge of it, to like Scott, who's been ever since he was like younger, a huge fan. It was like a very like a refreshing kind of like change the story that fit within the universe. So I think it happens both ways. I don't know where the Star Wars falls in that, you know, the hardcore fit for me if I was that fan. So I don't know. Like I could see it going either way, but I understand.
Well, I feel like the Star Wars one though, like there's nothing. It's from nothing. It's not bringing in any of the characters that were ever created. All these people are brand new script, brand new everything, as opposed to, oh, we have Mysterio. Like we're fitting Mysterio into the universe. So like I said, it's kind of, if you know, someone just completely said, we're just gonna not have any of the original stuff. We're just gonna take the name of this and move forward. It's a little bit simpler, but I understand. I mean, like things can be better because of it. And things could be worse, but...
And I keep saying this, especially being in LA for a few years now, like, I've known now it comes down to the writers. Like, if the writers are good, they'll figure out ways to do this. Like, hence, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you would ask me 20 years ago, could it exist without mutants? I'd have been like, no, this is going to be screwed up. They made it work.
Yeah.
Like, the two guys that have been, like, behind, like, all the screenplays, and Feige, they somehow made me care more about a guy with a bow and arrow more than, you know, like whatever the hell was going on with the X-Men and the 30 different variations happening in Fox and stuff. And like, but it was that, you know, like if the writing was, I mean, there have been problems with the MCU, no doubt, like, but like the core of it is the right, you know, it's kind of like we said about the original X-Men animated series, all kinds of flaws throughout the entire show, like to the point where the Jubilee's in the room watching her own like being kidnapped story in the news and stuff. But we got the story was so like engaging, the writing was so good, and Eric Lewald and all that team like did such a good job that I was just like invested. And
they also took comics of the time, and you know they basically brought you into what was going on that day. Because if you went and you saw, I think they even had like it was not a fully onslaught situation, but it was very similar to like what happened in the comics with Onslaught. So I mean, there's lots of stuff going on. And, you know, they had Asteroid M, they had all these different things that were going on in the universe at that time.
My favorite fandom is Mortal Kombat, and they're doing that movie in 2021. And we'll see, because they're going to have to take diversions. Actually, they don't have to. I just know they will. Because for some reason, no one's just going to take the existing story that's been there for 27 years and just make it a movie. But we'll see. They're going to take some liberties. And they took liberties with the first one I didn't love. They'll do it with this one. And I'll see how I feel about that. That might be the closest like thing for me, because it's like they have had like almost 3 decades. Well, at that time, it'll be 3 decades of history. And then we're going to see what happens. We're seeing the cast, and I'm looking at it. And I'm just going by like trust. I'm like, sure, okay, we'll see. Because so far there hasn't been that's it, you know.
And casting.
Yeah, just
a lot of like smaller known people though, right?
Yeah, which is probably good.
I like that more than
someone was like, we want Kenshi to be Keanu Reeves. I'm like, probably not gonna get him for this movie unless he's like the one big star power
maybe
thing. But so far, I think that's a fake thing because. It hasn't been confirmed that Kenshi's actually in the movie. Yeah. So I think there's like 100 some odd characters in the universe, so like they're not going to include everybody.
Yeah. And if they did, it'd probably be a bad movie.
It'd be a Fox X-Men movie.
It'd be a Fox The Last Stand movie where they're like, why are all these people
characters can we add?
Well, I bet you like this one person. There they go. Like, what the?
But see, this the thing is, in the MK11 story mode, they had like 20 some odd characters, like almost 30 characters. And they interweaved it in like a one story mode of a game, and it weaved beautifully. So, get the game story mode right.
Just do that.
Do the movie. And it was awesome, because what happened was like every time the scene changed, like you followed another like group that was off doing something.
Oh yeah.
And then gradually they would spill into each other. So like people in like the outer realms and stuff would cross paths with netherrealm people and stuff, and then like, but you'd see all their own main missions, and then the last chapter was like all the missions like converging, and it was very natural. Like, and it was natural because everybody was going to do the same thing anyway. So as they were finishing their missions, they were like all ending up in the same place, and it was like that's how you deal with 28 characters, and try and deal with all their stories, you know, and do them justice because they're all playable characters. So clearly, like, most people care about them, you know, so you can't be like, oh, there's Cabal.
Very good.
You know, like,
hi, guys.
Yeah. These stories can be done. Writers. We need good writers, you know, for all this stuff.
Serious.
Test the shit, too.
Testing the stuff, yes and no. Testing the stuff, because we've been part of test groups, and then when the final movie comes out, you're like, this story doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
They were just, like, cutting. But they're like cutting to like appease like survey filler people or whatever, which have been us before. But sometimes you'll learn that a scene doesn't work, you know, or like nobody cares about that character, or something. So
it's so weird that they have to like they'd actually do testing for that. Wouldn't you be able to see that?
I guess the closest thing I could relate to that, because I don't make films, but there's a thing that Josh has been to. Actually, both of you guys have been to, the Taxi Road Rally. And they have this thing where they have like a room of like 3,000 people, like people who are attending, and then a panel of like industry experts, like from record labels. And you drop, at the time, I don't know if they still do this, like a CD in a fishbowl, your information, then they randomly draw CDs and they play it over the loudspeakers, and then everybody gives their feedback on it. The thing though is, at that place, if your song comes on, before anybody says anything, the first 10 seconds, you feel the energy in the room, and you're like, that didn't work. It worked in my bedroom, you know? So I imagine maybe with films, it's something similar. Like, you have a string of jokes, and you're like, that was really funny, and then, like, just dead audience, you're like, Maybe not.
I figure they wouldn't have to even ask questions at that point in time. You can just read the faces of the audience.
They videotape.
Yeah.
So there's that. The questions sometimes are interesting. I won't say what film this is because we signed an NDA, but there was like one film that they asked, like, do you feel this character was too homophobic? And I was like, as a person, yes. In the movie, I don't think it's detractive, just unnecessary. Like, it comes out of nowhere. And I know they were like, well, this character's like from way in the past, like in our history, like everybody's known him in American history for a long time. So they're like, that's just how he is. But it's like, it also was completely unnecessary for this movie. They're trying to like take an old character. It's like, you know how like they say like Apu is like very controversial now in The Simpsons, but there was 20 years where he was fine. Well, fine to the mainstream. It was a whole different perspective with the East Indian folk, but like the thing with
Italian pizza guy is still cool, by the way.
yeah, right.
Hi, I'm here.
Yeah. This is okay, right?
Exactly.
But that I think that was what they were trying to like gauge, you know, like should we cut these parts out? Should we? I was like, you know, I don't know, like I mean, obviously I'm not part of that community, so like I couldn't say, but like watching, I was like, it just felt like it was out of left field. So depending maybe what they got feedback from the actual like LGBTQ community, what they said might sway that.
I wonder if they cut it out.
I don't know. I haven't
come
seen
out yet?
It's come out, but I think it's come out, but I haven't seen it. It was also a movie that I wasn't like completely dying to see, you know, outside of like the test screening. They didn't listen to us about Justice League. All of our notes were, don't release this.
Did you actually say that?
Yeah, because it was terrible. There was like not salvageable moments. Besides Wonder Woman, we're like, you could release like Wonder Woman clips on YouTube and it'd be a better investment.
I mean, it wasn't as awful as I thought it was gonna be.
No, but the money they spent on it was like,
Yeah.
wow. You know, and the reason we were saying, the reason we were saying like, don't release this is because typically the promotion budget is the same amount as making a movie. Like you're gonna spend how many millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars promoting this movie? Like, don't do that. Like,
I have no idea what Warner Brothers thinks. Sometimes, I mean, like they have this. My daughters watched Superhero Girls, which was kind of like, if you think like Barbie and Sailor Moon with as like mushed together, but it's like the DC girls in like a high school. And then I watch it, that's like, okay, it's kind of funny or whatever. And they loved it. And then they had like a new version where like they're all silly and they're all weird, and like my girls are just turned off on it. And they completely, like DC was like pushed it now. Like if you drive by DC right now, it's all over that back wall that they printed.
Gotcha.
Where it's all goofy and curly looking, and says as opposed to like, you know, they tried to make it very his high schoolish.
Yeah.
And the other one, but
weird. So that's those are the examples where I think some of the test screenings could go wrong. Because they probably tested it with a very specific group of people. Now, they love this. You know, because there's that story around Hollywood about how they almost cut out the song Part of Your World from Little Mermaid.
yeah.
Because when they test screened it, the studio execs were watching the kids watch it, and this one girl dropped her popcorn and went to clean up the popcorn instead of watching the song. And they were like, if a child is more interested in cleaning than watching the movie, like that's a bad scene. And so they did rework some things, maybe add some comedy or whatever, but they were like, we can't, like, we're gonna cut this part out. And the people who did like the music and the story for it were like, they're musical people, and they're like, you can't, this is the I Want song, this is necessary for our musicals. So they fought for it. And like, can you imagine Little Mermaid without Part of Your World? Like,
that's where I feel like they get in their own way at that point in time. They like just overthink everything. I feel like maybe, like, you always have the producers and whatnot coming in and giving notes or doing whatever else. I feel like you should generally leave, like if you hire someone to write and direct a movie, you should generally leave them alone and like, here's your money, here's a couple notes and bye-bye. Because if not, then you should start, you know, screwing with it. I don't think it's gonna come, any good's gonna come from it.
yeah.
If you have to mess with it that much.
Do whatever the MCU did with their directors. Half those people only did like 1 or 2 movies before, and then somehow made like blockbuster.
Didn't the Spider-Man dudes just come out of like, oh, this guy was at Sundance, you know, he made a movie in his backyard. You know?
Taika Waititi had just done indie films, and now he's like arguably one of the best things to happen to the MCU.
I think the writer from Homecoming was the kid from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's funny.
A younger kid.
Was he Taika signed on for another movie?
Love and Thunder.
That's right, yeah.
Is he directing it though?
I don't know.
He's also supposed to be in another.
Well, he's gonna be
movie.
Korg, I guess, again, right?
But he's supposed to be in another Marvel movie. I can't remember as
I remember.
as like another character. Like now he's just becoming like voiceover guy.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be the Andy Serkis.
He's so funny though.
He is funny.
Black Panther 2, whenever that comes out, like really looking forward to that. 'Cause that was a whole other tone. It's a good example of how like different movies can have different tones, but all fit together like in a universe. You know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That takes us back to the top where we saw Angel Has Fallen.
Yeah.
The description is actually just all the whole movie. Morgan Freeman's the president and Gerard Butler's the head of Secret Service.
Is it WB movie?
And he's framed. I don't know.
Looked like it.
I learned yesterday that it was part of a trilogy.
Yeah, I guess there's
Olympia
two.
Has Fallen and London Has Fallen, but they're not the same movies. It's just that Is Fallen is a genre of generic action movies.
I didn't know like they were supposed to be connected.
They're not connected story-wise. They're just connected in that Gerard Butler's a badass in each of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he in all of them?
He's supposed to be like the last action hero kind of thing.
That's
you know?
so weird.
So they're not connected. I haven't seen the other two, so I don't know. But this one, the tactical scenes are really cool. But like Vince pointed out, like the story was like very lacking.
Yeah.
But
Wasn't
I had fun for the most part. But like there were a couple, more than a couple, but there was a couple specific scenes where there was clear green screen with explosions. And I think the VFX artist ran out of time because it looked like YouTube level green screen.
Oh wow.
And I was like, because like Gerard Butler's like got Morgan Freeman like on his shoulder, and, like, and Morgan Freeman's hair isn't completely keyed out. I'm like, and we were in the Dolby theater. It's like a 2-story screen, like,
And a really like high res.
I can see like all 1,000 pixels of green halo around his head. You know, like,
Dang.
and then there's no depth with the explosion. The explosion's like right here, and they're just like.
That always annoys me, even in TV shows. You're like explosion, I'm this far away from it. You would die.
Yeah.
Just no sense. I was gonna say with the Crisis thing again, coming back to that. There's gonna be they're bringing all these people into it. In fact, they're even gonna have the guy that voiced Batman. Gosh, again, my brain is farting.
Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
yeah.
Gosh dang it. He's actually gonna play Batman in this,
Oh, very cool.
which is weird because he doesn't look like Batman at all. He looks like the guy from Cheers,
Yeah.
Ted Danson.
Danson.
Oh wow.
And then they're actually gonna have Mark Hamill playing the Joker.
Oh,
Like
wow.
physically?
Physically.
That's awesome.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll go into like a multiverse where they're all on cartoon.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on, but they have like this giant list of just crazy people. Like, this person's playing this, and this person's playing that. And you're like, what is going
They're
on?
just having fun.
This is an upgrade for my involvement in DC. I am now clicked up to watch a YouTube video about it after it's over. Before I wasn't even looking at anything. So now we're up to that level to see how much more the got the interest.
Like, I wonder what they're gonna do because Arrow is supposed to be done with after this year. So
How many
I don't-
seasons was that?
I don't know, it might have been an 8.
Yeah, it had to
maybe
have
8 or 9. But I don't know if they're going to continue. It's like a Marvel thing. Like, I don't know if they're going to continue with the same universe, the same idea. If they're going to reboot it, you know. Who knows?
I'm excited for Eternals though. I don't know anything about them, but I hear about the casting. Like they added the dude from Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
who wasn't the last dude from Game of Thrones, and they look the part at least right now. Like I saw it because I think they were standing in front of like mock-ups,
Yeah.
like concept art. Like Kumail Nanjiani looks badass in his concept art. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm here to see what this is going to turn into.
I don't know. I've never been interested in the Eternals ever.
I don't know anything about it, but like it just sounds cool. Like the more like Selma Hayek, like it's gonna be all. I mean, I remember in college like loving Selma Hayek movies. Like
She's always great.
Dusk Till Dawn. I was way too young when I saw that.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I think that's one. I don't know if I'll actually watch. I just never was interested. And I just was like, I'm still not. Just don't. I don't like it.
Guess what
Never
we're
have.
seeing tomorrow for Rod's birthday?
Matrix Reloaded.
Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, dude.
not Reloaded.
Or just the Matrix, but
This isn't coming out till after, right?
yeah.
Because we're purposely not telling anybody where we're going, so I can be off grid.
This is
Oh, it's coming out. You're going on tomorrow, right?
yeah.
Oh, it's gonna come out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Cool. So now you all know.
I
But
thought about that before I said
but
it.
on the day of, I always go off grid, so we'll see if I'm still alive by then. But my gift to myself is not being on the internet. It's the basic consensus.
Unplug.
Yeah, we're gonna see the Matrix, or when you see this, we will have seen the Matrix.
In the Dolby,
big,
too,
Yeah, the
right?
Dolby.
in the big screens.
I have A-list now, and I was like, ooh, I'm kind of interested in that. If I hadn't already showed my daughters The Matrix, I might have been like, we're going to see this now.
So I never got to see it in theaters.
Me neither.
So I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
I feel it wasn't promoted well when we were, because we were in high school when it came out.
90s.
I remember the reason I didn't see it in theaters though, was because I was in like full-on youth group mode, and we were all guilted into like not seeing rated R movies and stuff.
We
And
watched it after youth group, as a youth group.
yeah, so
You did?
Yeah.
so we, and then I had my best friend at the time was older than me, and he was keeping me accountable for not seeing rated R movies. And I think in general that was a good decision because there was a lot of rated R movies at the time that like I'm a better person for not seeing. But then that one came out, and I forget. I think he started dating this girl or something, and she like pressured him to go see it. And he came back. He's like, "Okay, you gotta watch this one." And I don't think they saw it in theaters. I think it was like a DVD
It's
release.
rated
thing.
R?
It was rated R at the time, at least. Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, there's a lot of violence.
Nothing in it.
There's like a lot of gun violence.
gun
There's like a lot of
violence.
guns.
Yeah, nobody like gets
I didn't think
blown
it was
apart
R though. I thought it was PG-13.
It's gotta be PG-13, man. There's hardly any cursing. There's no like brutal scenes.
I'm gonna look it up. The only reason I say
I
that
like
is,
because of your story, because of what you went through.
yeah, it's rated R.
That's weird.
No shit.
Yeah, so and that was the only reason. Like, when we saw the movies that came out that week, it was like, can't see that one, can't see that one, can't see that. That was it. And obviously, we didn't know what it was at the time. And so, like, my friend finally saw it. Like, I think he was dating this girl or something, or he was trying to date this girl or something. A woman persuaded him to see it. Is the point of the story. And then he was like,
Which often happens.
yeah. And so then, like, we were hanging out later. He's like, Rod, I know you're not supposed to see radar movies because of this one. So we sat in his room, popped the VHS in, and I was like, dude. And I think at the time we were like, I think that makes sense because we were like, this is an exclusion from the rated R because there really wasn't the things that we normally didn't see rated R movies.
It wasn't that bloody when the people get shot.
So
That's so weird to me that it was rated.
it was rated R for violence and language.
Maybe I guess when he said, "Get my effing phone call" or something.
There might be more.
Well, there was a lot of language in it.
Yeah. What is it? Two.
You get one F bomb
and then
to
like
be PG-13.
3 shits.
And nudity.
What was new?
All the people they're getting taken out of the Matrix. We're also talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I do know there were a lot of titties. I remember that being a teenager. Like,
90s movies?
well, no, in the
just
Matrix.
In the Matrix?
Yeah, because in the, like the towers of people, there's a bunch of naked bodies in them.
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember
If
seeing
I
that
do
at all.
remember seeing that, I
So-
don't remember like seeing detail because
Yeah.
they're all in those like vats of
Yeah.
liquid.
Ectoplasm.
Yeah.
To plastic.
So
look
like
like
when,
me.
like, but they were all naked. Like none of them were in clothes.
Yeah.
They're like in
I don't think
the
I
vats.
saw anything. I'd have to rewatch.
Yeah, now I'm gonna look for that.
I believe that in the 90s, it might have even been the idea of it, and then you see a lot of crack, you know? So, but that I think the gun violence alone would
Yeah.
have given it a rated R. There was a shit ton of gun violence in it. Even if nobody, like, not very people got, like, bled from it,
Yeah.
that hallway scene alone probably would have gotten a rated R, especially because that was the time of, like, Columbine and everything, like,
That was the first time we saw the bullet time as well. I think.
Yeah.
That was the first time they ever did it.
And anyway, so he showed me the movie, and I was like, I gotta. So we watched it. I was like, this is awesome. And then when we were in college, that's when they did Reloaded and Revolutions. But I don't like. I loved from both the action, but also like the philosophical standpoint. It continued the arcs that were introduced in the first movie. So
Yeah.
I could tell it was done from the writers, the Wachowskis' vision instead of like the studio execs thing, you know, like because there was. I'm not even that big in philosophy, but like, yeah, we actually like by the time I got to college, we were studying philosophy in the class and stuff, and I was seeing like, oh, these are the pillars of this. And then when they announced the sequels, we fully expected like they're just gonna do more shoot 'em up all the time. But then the movies like they were like, nope, we're gonna follow these philosophical arcs. I'm like, good for them, you know, because it's not the popular.
They're actually continuing with the movie now. Did you hear that?
The fourth one or the
fourth
fourth. With
I like all of them.
Carrie-Ann Moss.
Didn't they all die?
Animatrix too. Anything Matrix that came out around that time after the 2.
So I've watched a bunch of theory videos, and they all say things that most of us could probably guess. Since it's the Matrix, either it's just rebooted again because that's what happened the other 6 times.
Yeah.
Or when spoiler, I guess, if you haven't seen the movie in 20 years, the Trinity, like maybe she just gets like her body's dead, but like she still exists in the Matrix.
She was outside the Matrix when she died. Like, I can understand Neo because he was still plugged in when he died, but
Well,
he was dead outside of it.
we don't know how it works anymore. Like, so that, and then, but even like, I think the thing was though that like everyone's code exists in the Matrix, even if like the so I don't know, like it. Who knows?
Or a Tank or one of those guys could have wrote their programs, you know.
He wasn't even in the second or third movie.
Yeah.
Tank.
Whoever the operator is
yeah.
for the ship could have made duplicates of your ID or whatever.
I don't know. I feel like what have the Wachowskis done lately?
I mean, Sense8 was killer.
Yeah.
Like,
Still
and this
watch that second season.
yeah, and
I went to TV.
Sense8, yeah.
And I don't know, like, I trust. I mean, The Matrix is one of those things. Like, if it's Atlanta, I think that is doing this one. Because it's not both of them. I think it's just Atlanta. I have faith because they follow through on their philosophical, trajectory for that. So we'll see. Or it might just be complete, like, let's start over. Or something.
Could be, but they're gonna still have Carrie-Anne Moss in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of faith in that because I hated the second and third movie. Absolutely
So,
hated
once again,
those
maybe just not for you then. Like, I'm looking forward to it because, like, I love the way everything, like, ended. And I'm still learning stuff from it the more, like, I watch the other 2. I've seen all the movies multiple times.
The second
This
one
is
was
awful
my favorite.
CGI. Absolutely awful. You can't get past it.
But it was revolutionary at the time.
Revolutionary. I mean, hey, look at this crap we can do right now. Well, it doesn't look good. Well, it's revolutionary. You're like, okay.
I mean, that's how I felt about all the X-Men movies, though. It, like, I don't know. But
I
also,
enjoyed the X-Men movies, or at least the first 2.
I don't know. But the Matrix sequel CGI and stuff, it made sense to me because it was in the Matrix too. Like, and there's nothing to beat that final fight between Agent Smith and Neo. Like, that was straight out of an anime.
Pretty much.
You know, like
the way it was filmed was just so crazy. And his fight with Agent Smith out in the park when he met with Oracle, where he's like on a staff, like sideways, like kicking all the Smiths in the face around the circle.
I think that's the scene he's talking about.
Yeah, it's the second one.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
I love that second one.
It looks so awful. Go back and watch it. It is.
I rewatched it. I just in my
I
head
haven't
it's like
rewatched it.
in my head it's like this is the Matrix, so like everything
looks
has
like a bad.
well everything has this like sheen on it, you know, like. But I mean, you're allowed to not like it. Like I
like the
dug
fight
it,
with
like,
the twins.
yes, the ghost.
the
Ghosts.
ghosts.
Yeah, they were kind of cool.
the
But
Merovingian.
I mean, the idea. I don't know. I felt like the whole thing had a different. Had a different feeling when you watch it. It's almost like I would consider it similar to they wrote Wolverine's origin story in the 90s, and it is awful to me. It's like, hey, here's a silver platter. Here's what this is. To where like you were like thinking. Well, everyone would argue. They'd be like, "Well, what do you think happened? Where's he been? Who was he? Or how did he get to be who he is, or whatever it was?" Because he didn't know. He had no idea what his memory was. And then like, there's a silver platter. Like, here's how it is. And I feel like then it changed the feeling of who Wolverine was, and just not for the good. I feel like that second movie and then moving on to the third movie didn't have the same feeling as the first movie. I feel like it didn't. The first movie didn't have as much CGI, and like I feel like
the third one, the Wolverine.
Yeah, the Wolverine.
That I like that movie too.
I liked it better than what's the
Origin.
Origins.
I didn't like Origins.
And see, to me, they were all garbage.
And I loved the Flash.
You like Logan though.
Logan was amazing to me.
But it's a little late.
A little too late.
But
15 years too long.
it was also like a completely different movie.
It was.
Like you could have taken the claws away and it would have been the same movie.
They practically did. I mean,
Like you just give him like a knife. It's been the same movie. Like pretty much. And a motorcycle. But at the same time, I haven't seen it since it came out. It didn't move me so much. I'm like, this is like, I have to own this, really, you know? But I do agree it was a good movie.
I like that they brought in more mutants into it as well.
I mean, I like the feeling of that movie. It had like a really good tone to it. The story was like a little man, but like the rest of it felt pretty good.
It was about the children.
Yes.
Getting them to Canada, like real
In
life.
Canada, you'll all be safe from this evil
From
organization.
Donald Trump.
It'd be interesting to see if they take X-23's timeline into the movies as well.
I'm down for whatever brings that actress back in. 'Cause she was great.
She was great.
I don't know how they would.
That whole dynamic where she's like, she's gonna take stuff from the convenience store and like gonna kill that dude, and Wolverine's like, no,
Yeah,
being
he
a
has
dad,
to be a dad.
and then he still takes his stuff from the store.
Pretty funny.
We went through a crap ton of stuff, guys.
Yeah,
Just
That was a lot.
all over the place. We're sorry, but not sorry.
Horrible cow manure.
let us know in the comments. We were saying that we like, you know, when we did the Sonic thing, we liked it, so we were gonna try to like hang out and eat and just kind of shoot the shit. Let us know if you like it, or if you hate it. We should never do this again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, I think we got more views on the cartoon versions of us than we
Oh,
got
sweet.
on anything.
So back to the cartoons.
Yeah,
No.
fine with me, to be honest.
There was.
So-
There's also.
So thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for whatever the hell we're talking about then.